Hello and welcome to the Deep Three Podcast. I am not Matt. I am Kevin, joined per usual by Sam. Matt is out this week, so we're going to be holding down the fort. So what's up?
Follow my lead.
Well, I mean, we gotta give it a little throwback. We gotta throw out some heat to start off this episode. What do you got? There's a lot of drama going on. So
All right. Honestly, I can't tell what's worse. After watching those Instagram stories with the food and everything, can't tell what's worse. The food at Disney World or that Washington Wizards roster? Can we? No Bradley Beal, no John Wall, not even my boy Davis Bertans. What are we doing here? Why are we doing it at Disney World? All right, just quit, retire. Let's get to just top four East teams. Call it a day. All right, let's be real.
coming out hot for the Wizards hate. Although I totally agree, it's an embarrassing thing right now. Let's be honest. I mean, for me, I don't know about you, but I feel like Chris Paul out here snitching on everyone, calling people about Jimmy Butler's dribbling. What everyone else, he's just snitching on them because let's face it, the only way he's going to get a title is have everyone else out.
Chris Paul not welcome on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I got to start making a list, ladies and gentlemen. Damian Lillard, Vince Carter, apparently. All right, Matt's not loving Vince Carter, and Chris Paul not welcome. We got him on the list. All right,
Aaron Gordon probably.
Aaron Gordon, yeah, he's out. The man, ugly as fuck.
Anyway, let's get into it. Again, normally Matt would be here with some question of the day. I'll take his place on that. So Sam, since you're the only other one here, we just had the anniversary for LeBron's big decision, the decision, the TV broadcast entertainment extravaganza. If you could go back and redo it for him, how would you do it differently?
Okay. I'll be honest, I think I'm the only one that really supported how he did it. Okay, and this is why. All right, I think we need to make it very clear. At that point, LeBron was on Team Fuck You. And I think everyone knows my motto when it comes to Team Fuck You, right? My entourage, right? We just don't care. Russell Westbrook, PJ Tucker, Montrezl Harrell, we just don't care. Get out of my way. We're going to do what we want. Exactly. There we go, Kevin. But I think the way he did it was really important because let's think about it. He did it for charity, $2 million to the Boys and Girls Club of Cleveland, which was awesome. Really, the one downside was he betrayed everyone in Cleveland. So I totally get that. I think that was the one thing where it was, if he came back to Cleveland, it'd been perfectly fine. If he didn't say I'm going to South Beach, apparently I heard he didn't have a writer when they wrote that, so he just said that. So then it was all like out of like no context, and they're just like, we're going to South Beach, and everyone's like, okay, yeah. Apparently, he had no writer for this, and I think maybe that's why it seemed like really unprofessional from his standpoint. But I think this was a great way for him to really start the player empowerment movement, right? This kind of was like a stepping stone for like people to for athletes really to just make their own decision, not just be dependent on teams recruiting. It's like, no, you come for me now and you give me your best pitches, right? That happened for Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, I think he had the worst decision of all time, going to the Warriors. Like, I get like LeBron is responsible for building the whole like big three concept again. The one thing I also don't agree was when they got all together, the big three, and they said not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, wait, not six, I'm not done yet, not seven, not eight. All right. And how many years was he there? 4 years. Okay, 4 years, 2 titles. Really disappointing for that kind of league. But honestly, it wouldn't really change much because, we look at Paul George, right? Paul George did the same thing. It was a 3-day special, okay? A 3-day special only to say I'm coming back to OKC and then saying next year, I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to leave you guys. I'm going to abandon OKC. So, realistically, LeBron was actually the backbone for all this. Yeah, he betrayed Cleveland, but he came back and won the title. So I think he did everything right, personally. What do you think?
I think when I first even asked this question, I wouldn't have been on that side, but I think that's a really compelling argument about like with the decision, he kind of started that movement of, no, I'm not your piece of meat or something like that. Like, I am the player. I am the asset here. I'm going to do what I want to do. I think we see that a lot. Like you said, Anthony Davis, Paul George, whoever, like a lot of those examples of players doing things for them. And I think that's all because of the decision and what it was. I think it's it's arrogant for sure to do that and to have that, like, I'm so important that I'm going to make a TV special out of my decision on where I want to go. But that being said, it did change how trades are made sometimes, and that's crazy. Like,
Yeah. And I think it's even crazier. Like, even after he made that decision, the owner for the Cavs wrote a letter. I don't know if you remember that, about promising that the Cavs are going to win a title before LeBron ever wins a title. And guess when the Cavs won a title? When LeBron came back and won the title for you. All right. LeBron James is worth more than half the entire net worth of the city of Cleveland. Okay, he's worth more than the entire housing economy of the city of Cleveland. Cleveland, you're a piece of shit. Why are you in existence? Okay, LeBron doesn't even want to live there. Okay, that's like I think he feels so ashamed that he's from there. I bet he wishes he's from LA. All right, let's be real. All right.
Yeah.
Um,
Add another lots of people to the list of people that we can't have on the podcast. The entire city of Cleveland not welcome on the podcast.
The city of Cleveland, do not come. We don't want you. We don't care for your opinion. All right, let's be real.
Oh my God. Okay. A lot of stuff's been happening with basketball about to start up soon. So I'm sure you got a lot of updates for us this week on current events.
Sir. Yes, sir. A lot of bad news. Obviously, within 2 weeks, the season is projected to start. 15 days, honestly, which is kind of ridiculous. And we've been getting a lot of cases with people just before the bubble and people entering the bubble. Obviously, a big one just from a superstar standpoint, Russell Westbrook. I also heard two others. I don't know if anyone actually identified who they were, but Russell Westbrook actually came out and said, like, hey, I tested positive. I'm feeling good right now, but, I'm just chilling right now, and we'll see what happens from there. Which is a real shame, obviously with this new Rockets, roster that completely changed, completely overhauled, realistically playing small ball. And let's be real, like Russell Westbrook is actually really fundamental to their complete offense, right? This team is notorious for shooting from the 3-point line like exclusively, and this guy's the one guy who's going to penetrate into the paint. So we're hoping that maybe with the quarantine, maybe a 10, 12-day quarantine, while he's still training on his own, he's able to recover and hopefully get some negative results just so that he can get back with the team. Along with that, James Harden actually didn't fly with the team. He flies solo because he was training on his own. I think he just came in today. Probably for good reason, because they don't want to get the virus and they're worrying about themselves. Some funny ones were, I don't know if you may not even know this player. I don't even know what team he's on because I completely forgot. But I think Bruno Caboclo, I think we kind of talked about it earlier, but the guy kind of like inadvertently like messed up the quarantine rules because, so to make it clear to everyone, like when you're at Disney World, it's supposed to be just a 72-hour period that you're in your room. Like, I know it's still crazy, but like, I mean, it's still a hotel room. Like, you still have like everything. You still get your food. Like, you still get everything. But I think it's a 48-hour to 72-hour period where people have to be quarantined from each other before they can start going out and like interacting with their teammates and stuff. And for some reason, within less than 24 hours, like 3-4 people already messed that up. Like, it's impressive. Like, it's impressively dumb how people just can't follow the rules. And Bruno Caboclo kind of just walked out of his room and was just wondering, like, how did he get, like, more food? And they're like, okay, yeah, you have to go back into your room. You're quarantined for another 8 days. And I'm like, okay, sure. Okay, whatever. And then our boy, Rashawn Holmes, messed up his Postmates order. And it was kind of funny because Kelly Oubre made a tweet just before that stating that, like, this is how you're supposed to do the whole process. And then 15 minutes later, he's like, oh, LOL. Just kidding. Maybe not. But yeah, just kind of silly things like this. Like James Ennis for the Magic, he also got the virus. I think the funniest one, Michael Beasley just got signed like a couple days ago with the Nets, and he already got tested positive. Funny in the terms of just like
ironic.
Yeah, it's ironic like that he got it. Rooting for his recovery, obviously. But we all know that Nets team is not going to go anywhere. It doesn't really mean much. I guess the real question is, Kevin, like, how skeptical do we feel about this kind of like supposed bubble that the NBA has?
I mean, at first it sounded like a really good idea. Like, oh, we're going to quarantine people for X amount of time. We're going to have all these rules in place. Everything's like we're going to follow all these guidelines to a T, blah, blah, blah. And then it sounded good from the start, but now we're seeing that players just aren't following the rules that much. And I think that's where things are going to fall apart quickly, especially if people continue to not really follow these strict guidelines. Like things, it's not going to last. Like you're going to have teams that have a lot less players. You're going to have your stars out, and it's not going to be as. I think they're still going to try and play all the playoffs and everything like that, but it could be tough in a very short amount of time.
For sure. And I think we've been seeing like report people start really joking around about the bubble. But in my opinion, I give the props to the NBA. Like I said, in a very short amount of time, like really like less than 2 months, they decide like, okay, we got to decide. The first thing they decided on was the date, right? They're like, okay, this is our deadline and see if we can meet that. So far, they're still on pace. Obviously, there's cases coming up. I mean, especially with the state of Florida kind of just fucking up everything and just opening everything realistically. Definitely a big concern. But I think going back to your point, it's just how do you? I'm not trying to say like discipline the players in terms of like their immaturity or anything like that, but just like I'm just hoping the players understand that there's a bigger picture still. Like, yeah, you're not going to get the luxury that you had, going back at home and stuff like that. But like, remember, there's a bigger picture. Black Lives Matter. There's a virus at hand. Use that money, get that money, make sure the season still lasts so that we can feed it back in the system and rebuild the communities again. Obviously, I think the superstars get that, but some of these young guys like Richaun Holmes and stuff, they start just rushing into things before they kind of really think about it. So hopefully, that's something they can realize before the season starts, because it'd be a real shame if the season gets started and then we have to cancel it halfway, or not even halfway, just a couple games in. But as for our resident Lakers fan here, there was some news that Rondo did fracture his finger in practice, out 6 to 8 weeks. Do you really think this is a big loss for them, or do you think that they've got enough assets, aka the Dion Waiters, the J.R. Smiths, the AC Fresh, Alex Caruso? Is that enough to be a replacement?
I think they have still a lot of tools. I think they're still going to be the biggest threat, if not one of the biggest threats in the playoffs. But Rondo's a big loss. He's a big, big leader on that team. He's a great leader coming off the bench, getting those young guys or old guys, and like kids like Dion Waiters and J.R. Smith to like get organized and get them motivated and stuff. And I think he's really good at that. And without him, your bench is kind of looking rough quicker every day. It's could be interesting. I think that definitely decreases their stock value a little bit.
For sure. And I think so. I'm actually like a big fan of Rondo, like early Rondo, like the Celtics Rondo. He like really changed the game on point guard. He has that really good signature move. When he goes up, takes the layup, spins around, and then like gets the layup every time. That was really awesome. Obviously, he did have like a decline, similar to Vince Carter, honestly, maybe not to that tier, but it was actually kind of funny because there's a stat where the plus minus with LeBron to Rondo is actually a negative, so that like Rondo's contribution is actually considered a negative with the team. But the comparison was that Alex Caruso and LeBron James have like a plus minus of like plus 15 together when they're on the court. So you never know. We might have the AC Fresh LBJ duo might be remaking the good old Miami days, that alley oop. That'd be kind of interesting.
I'm a Caruso hype man. So,
and you may have to get that change that jersey, man. Get that jersey returned. All right, let's be real. All right, no. So, do you think with that loss for Rondo, do you think that's going to really hinder their playoff run? I know you did mention that he played a big role, and I think playoff Rondo was actually completely different than regular season Rondo. I think we've seen that the man has some rings under his belt. Do you think it's going to really impact the threat, or do you think it's still going to be a carry for LeBron James, AD?
Again, I think 90% of it's going to come from LeBron, AD. Like, that's just kind of the power of those two people together. But I think, again, like you said, playoff Rondo's a different Rondo. Like a lot of people, I think he really shines in the playoffs more so than any other time. Like, he thrives on that pressure. And I think I think it's gonna impact them a little bit. I don't know if I think they're still gonna get to the finals. Period. I do, but I think most of their series are gonna go a little longer. Maybe instead of 4 games, it'll be 6 games or 7 games, even like something like that. Like I think it'll be small things. I think they'll still win out most of the time and go to the finals. But I think then if you're playing against the Bucks in the finals, losing Rondo and not having him at that point still, that might be the 2 points that you lose by.
No, that's fair. So you already put the Bucks in the final. That's what you're saying. All right, we'll get to that later. Don't worry, fans. We'll see. I think, like you're saying, to your point, I think Rondo is irrelevant in terms of the overall aspect of, in terms of like the superstardom, but in terms of the actual team, he's a really cohesive part. Like it really actually, he's kind of a glue guy, right? Just in terms of veteran and just the experience that he has. He's one of the guys that can get the young guys on this roster, in the right shape, right? Because looking at this roster, like I'm only seeing like 2 players have never been to the playoffs, and that's Alex Caruso and Kyle Kuzma, and probably one bench guy that we don't really care about. But otherwise, everyone's been to the playoffs. That's how they built this roster. Yeah, they might be quote unquote washed up, but Rondo's got his title. Dwight Howard's been to the finals, all right, and we'll talk about that later. JaVale McGee, 2-time NBA champion with the Warriors. Fun fact: did you know that he was actually going to be out of the league before the Warriors signed him to a 10-day contract?
What?
And now he got his money back. Yeah, he was going to be out of the league.
I did not know
that. I also recommend watching his dunk contest because the man dunked 2 basketballs at once during the dunk contest, and he got like the worst rating. And I was like, all right, it's rigged. But we all know JaVale McGee as the notorious Shaqtin' a Fool, so I can see where his repertoire is in terms of that. There's some big controversy lately, though, especially about the whole name situation on jerseys. You probably heard it that LeBron James is actually going to stick with his name. At first, I was just like, oh, it's kind of surprising, LeBron James, just being such a like prominent figure, why he wouldn't do it. But I actually like kind of listened to his point, and he just thought like he felt like it seemed counterproductive to be so restricted by like the guidelines given by the NBA and MPPA. I know obviously they didn't want vulgarity, but I think there's still like a broader sense that we could have, because we all know that LeBron loves his more than athlete concept, which was really important to all this, right? Because Laurie Ingram called him out, like, just shut up and dribble. And he's like, well, no, because like I'm literally worth half a city right now. And Laurie Ingram, like, who are you? Like, who the fuck are you? Fox News, like, what are you at this point? But he kind of made a statement just saying like how these messages like don't resonate with him. What do you think overall about the concept? I know we talked about it before, but like now kind of like thinking about and just seeing like what names we can choose from. Do you think that this is really that impactful, or do you think it's more of just quote unquote like a gimmick at this point?
I mean, I think part of it is 100% a gimmick to be like, hey, we're in on this. We support this. Like, here's this set of words that you can use, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's definitely coming from partly a selfish place, but at the same time, I think it gives a platform to a lot of people that otherwise wouldn't be speaking out on this that much. Like you and I were talking earlier about like Caruso. Like, he has come out, I think today or yesterday, and said like, he was like, hey, I'm going to have Black Lives Matter on my jersey. And I think it's important to show that message that like people like me support this and everyone should support this and like things like that. And I think in that case, it's good. I think it's at least good to have the option to do that if you want to. But at the end of the day, having your name on having Black Lives Matter on a jersey isn't going to solve anything. Like, you have to put in the work for it too. You have to donate. You have to go to protests. You have to do the work. And I think to LeBron's point, that's fair, because I think that's kind of his point too, is like, why would I care about putting something on my jersey when I'm still going to donate millions of dollars to neighborhoods and things like that. Like, but I think again, yeah, for people like Caruso and people who aren't making as much money, I think it's great that they can do that at least.
For sure. And I don't want to make this like a very like, I mean, obviously it's a big racial thing, but I kind of find this being more impactful for like white athletes, right? Like we obviously saw like Kyle Korver changing his to a BLM as well. And even for some players, I don't know if it was JaVale McGee or Mike Scott, the Sixers, saying that they just actually took off their name completely, which
Yeah,
I thought was actually pretty powerful in that sense. But I feel like even for like these black players, I think they should just rep their name because like that's the community they're representing. Um, and I think a great way for just like white athletes to do it is to change it. They don't have to, but I think it's a great way to support, kind of like how Alex Caruso did it or Kyle Korver has done it, because that kind of does show support that you know, I don't care about my name myself because I already have that privilege to just kind of like live about my own day. Um, so it's really cool to see that there is still the sense of brotherhood in the NBA, and hopefully that we can still get that vibe, translate to really all across society. And hopefully the NBA does a great way and uses the platform correctly to
yeah,
allow these players to really like showcase what they want to do. Because I hear there's going to be a lot of like advertisements. I don't know what they are exactly, but there might be a lot of like NBA sponsored Black Lives Matter ones, just from like different players giving their perspective. That'd be really cool to see. Just like seeing like I heard there's one that might be a Carmelo one telling about like what he grew up and what he saw in his childhood. I don't know how you can do that in like a 30-second or 1 minute, but that'd be really impressive what to see. That'd be really cool just to see like how they
yeah.
can do it. Um, it was kind of cool also hearing on ESPN. Stephen A. Smith says like I don't know how to even do the Stephen A. Smith voice without cracking my voice, but he basically said, I don't give a damn what you put on the back of your jersey because it doesn't really matter, right? At the end of the day, there's still people getting killed on the streets. And I was like, that's 10 billion% true.
Yeah.
And coming back to what I was saying, I think it's what the players say than what they put on the back of their jerseys, putting the patches. It really is a gimmick. It's a way for the NBA to show that they have support, obviously. But to be really supportive about the whole message, you have to be letting these players be more vocal about what they say, regardless of what comes out of it. Just let them say what they say because it's bigger than all of this. Like, who cares at the end of the day? Like, basketball, as much as we love basketball, it really doesn't matter if no one's playing it, right?
Yeah.
I guess on a lighter note, and going back to what your context was, I heard that the hotline's been really active. Overall, I think we grew up in maybe similar neighborhoods. Are we cool with snitches, or are we going to expect some snitches?
You know the saying. You know, stitches get stitches. Let's go. That's like that's rule number one, dude. That's rule number one. You learn that at like 5 years old. You snitch on like your brother or your sibling or whoever. Like you're hated on right away. That's you don't snitch. Come on.
Look, okay. So, young Sam here was a snitch. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I have to admit my faults. I didn't get to college when you had to break some of the rules. All right, when you start jaywalking often on a day-to-day basis, that's when you realize you can't be snitching. All right, 'cause I remember when a cop called me out and told me to go back, and I'm like, all right, fuck 12 at this point. All right, we're not repping them. Okay, you call me on jaywalking. Are you serious right now? Okay, all right. But I used to be a rat, all right? I rat people out. I was too much of a goody two shoes, but you see me now, rugged beard, changed man. I'm gonna go buy a bike now and right up to the sunset. So get my leather jacket and call it a day. But now I'm in the whole stitches thing, all right? You never narc, all right? Narcs, we don't narc with narcs. All right.
I think my biggest thing is like, I mean, the hotline's a little different. I'm gonna get that out there right away. But like, if you're ever snitching on someone and it could easily be addressed by just talking to them, or in this case, like calling them or texting them or whatever, then you're just being a child that you can't go and talk to that person face to face, and you can't be like, hey, why are you doing this? Or hey, you shouldn't be doing this because that fucks us all over, or whatever. Like, fuck you.
Fuck you. Okay. So out of all the NBA players that are in this bubble, who do you think will be the number one snitch?
CP3, let's go. I mean, come on.
Facts.
The
Facts. Can
man
you get
has
a fax
snitch
emoji
written all
coming
over.
in? Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, the guy called someone out in the game for untucked shirt and got technical. Like a player got technical. That's ridiculous. Okay, no one's a tryhard like that, but CP3. I hope he doesn't do it, but we know that if the calls keep going, you know who's doing it. All right, everyone. CP3, you snitch for life. Okay, I'm sorry, that's the label you're gonna get, but you're gonna have to live with that. Let's move on to our next segment. Something on with 2 weeks, the NBA season going, and then another 8 games. Then we'll have the playoffs. So let's make some postseason predictions, Kevin. All right. I think right from the get-go, with the 22 teams, let's start with the East side. What's going to be your 1 through 8? All right. Just give me running down the list.
Well, it's just going to be the current 1 through 8 seed because the Wizards are dead. The Wizards basically don't exist in the East, so I think it's going to be pretty much as is. Bucks are taking number 1. Raptors, I'd say Raptors are still number 2. Celtics just behind. Pacers could sneak up against Miami, depending, but I think it's unlikely. And then Sixers also could. I think the 4, 5, and 6 seed are going to be the big question marks. And I don't know who's going to be where. I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Pacers, Heat, Sixers is my guess. Then Nets and Magic and Wizards are out. Easy.
That's fair. And I think if Matt was here, he'd be yelling delusional right now. How are you putting the Heat at 5? I don't know if you had heard, but Victor Oladipo was saying that he may try to come back, actually, which actually could be a game changer. I actually did really like this Pacer team. They always disappoint in the playoffs, but I think just in terms of chemistry, the team's been rocking it with Sabonis, our boy Sabonis, killing it. Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon. It's actually a pretty solid team. We tried in 2K. We failed, obviously, because we have no skill, but this team could actually really do some damage. I think the teams that I would change, I think that the top 3 are pretty much set in stone. I think those teams are just pretty dominant in the East. I think Philly's going to get it. Though I have my doubts on Joel Embiid's health. He said he's been putting in the work. He's been grinding. He's been waiting for this moment. Hopefully Ben Simmons got rid of that nerve injury and he's back. And hopefully Tobias Harris is just not garbage. Hopefully he just actually plays the game for once and just be good for the money he's paid. And nice contract at that point. So I think I got Philly, Heat, Pacers. I wish I liked the Pacers underdog, but I have some slight doubts. And we don't care about Brooklyn or Orlando. And Orlando's the home team, technically, the home for Disney World. Well, let's get into the more interesting conference. All right, let's be real. Western Conference. Who you got? What's the order here?
You got to go Lakers, Clippers, top 2, period.
Gotcha.
In that order, I think so. Nuggets probably going to be 3rd.
Okay.
OKC could maybe catch up, but I don't know if they could. I think they'd be close. Jazz,
get him out of here.
drop him. I think Nugs, OKC. I'm saying Mavs next. I'm saying Mavs over Rockets. I think after then Rockets, then maybe Jazz, maybe.
Okay.
And then the 8th one is killing me. I really don't know who it's going to be between Grizzlies, Blazers, and Pelicans. That is a tough bubble for the playoffs. All those teams are awesome, and I like all of them right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Poker, though. I think it's got to be Pelicans.
Gotcha. That's fair. Yeah, I think, especially with the Pelicans, they had the last 16 or last 20 games, I think, were supposed to be super easy relatively. They're the easiest schedule, and then obviously with the virus, you can only play against the bubble team. So I think they adjusted them to they played the Wizards twice. So that's going to be, if they had Bradley Beal, I think it would have been more of a challenge, obviously. Or even a Davis Bertrand, just someone that can actually be a real scorer. That would have been a real challenge. And then they do play the Magic one. So out of 8 games, 3 of them are going to be hopefully super easy games. Unless the Pelicans somehow mess it up. I think your thoughts are pretty good. I think Lakers, Clippers going to be obvious top 2. Nuggets, I think, will probably be locked in 3. I definitely agree Jazz are going to be out. No Boji there. I don't really believe in Mike Conley. And Donovan Mitchell, we'll get to that later, but I'm just not getting good vibes from him. I don't even think OKC will even get the 4th seed. I'm going to put the Houston Rocket. If Russell Westbrook and everyone's healthy, I have some pretty strong optimism that they're going to I mean, if you realistically, they're just like 2 games away. I think they could do it. Then I'll put OKC. Then I'll put the Mavericks, and then I think we both agree Utah Jazz 7 seed. I just really don't believe in what they're Rudy Gooby. I mean, you're literally the virus here at this point. We don't want you here.
Literally
Literally the virus, and we really don't want you to be here any longer at the bubble. I mean, like that defeats the whole purpose at this point. Um, as much as I get why we want the Pelicans, I had to fight for the underdog. I think Memphis has not been given the props. I know you agree with that too. I think because everyone's shaking up the whole like rookie of the year thing, and there's no way. I don't think there's anywhere Zion can actually win it. There's no way. There's not enough games played. Like
Yeah.
even in history, like even Joel Embiid, he played 57 games and he was considered second. Um, what Joel Zion Williamson played 20? Not even, maybe just a
Not
little bit.
even.
Yeah, not even 20. 19 games. He played 19 games potentially. There's no way you can give him rookie of the year. I get how dominant he was, but he just missed the season. That's on him. He missed the season. John Moran's played almost every game, and he's been balling out. He brought this Memphis team, back to life. This is the real grind. And I think there's a really cool thing I heard while they're in the bubble, because all the players were complaining about, oh, we don't have this, on this, the food's like this, and the whole idea was like John Moran's like, room's good, food's good. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon, so let's get over with this. And I was like, I respect shit out of that. All right, John Moran already sold me. John Moran, I'm gonna buy like 5-year jersey. All right, like it's gonna be the same jersey too. Like I don't even change it. It's gonna be the same jersey. I rock with this guy. Like this guy just. Uh, I think we knew he was good when he beat our Marquette team in the tournament, right? Just the way he just obliterated, we just could not stop this man. And going into the draft, I was like, I would not even been surprised if he went number one. Just the way he dominated the game. Uh, and I was really hoping that he'd be on the cover with Zion. I think he just really deserved it. I think he's really getting the short end of the stick. And I think the best way to really treat this man is give him the Rookie of the Year, which we'll talk about later. But for me, Memphis really has got to get the 8th seed. So with these 16 teams, what do you think is going to be the most ridiculous thing to happen? What do you think? Like it may not happen, but what do you think might be like a solid chance that's going to be like for sure that could happen?
I'm torn. I think I have some strong feelings about this, I guess. I hate to say this. I think the Rockets out first round.
Rockets out first round, and you're saying them as a 6th seed still, though, right?
Yeah.
As a 6th seed, so they'd probably be playing the Nuggets. That's what you're saying. You're saying that the Houston Rockets are going to lose the Nuggets.
I'm scared for the Rockets right now. I'm skeptical. I love the Rockets too, and I'm mad that I'm that skeptical of it. But I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be good.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Honestly, I feel the other way. I feel like I'm skeptical of the Nuggets. I mean, obviously from last year, they went to 7 games with my Spurs, all right? And that Spurs team was really bad, okay? They were very bad. Like, they had the good youth, don't get me wrong, but, like, DeMar, LaMarcus, the way they played, we didn't really have any three-point shooters, and they still struggled. And now with this quote-unquote new Jokic, I don't know if that's good or bad for them. It might be easier for the Rockets because now he's slimmed down, and now you just put PJ Tucker, pancake PJ Tucker, all right? Putting pancakes on this man, all right? Stopping this man. And you got Rocco. Hey, we can't doubt Rocco's potential. Just shut down Jamal Murray and his Instagram. I don't know if you recall his Instagram story, but it was a little sexual. We won't get any further into that. R.I.P. to his girlfriend. For me, I'm going to go to the East, all right? And my doubt is if the Miami Heat somehow drop to 6, just mess up in the regular season, Boston gets to 3, I'm pretty confident that Boston can't beat that Miami Heat team. I just think, like, as much as we both disagree on Bam Adebayo's potential as of right now, I think this is the greatest opportunity for him to really shut us up, right? I think this is the greatest opportunity to really shut down a Jason Tatum, driving into the paint, right? That's really going to be the key question to stop. Can you stop Jason Tatum? I know you got Jimmy Butler just being actually a pretty good leader, surprisingly, and not a coach killer because Eric Spoelstra is phenomenal. Tyler Hero coming back, Kendrick Nunn. He's got a good young group playing against another good young group. I don't doubt Brad Stevens' potential, but I guess I'm saying I would not be surprised if Miami drops to the 6th seed, and Boston goes to 3rd. I won't be surprised if probably the Heat wins in 5. Like, I'm pretty confident that this team, like, Jimmy Butler's just not scared of going to Boston. He's not scared of really going anywhere, honestly. I won't be surprised if the Miami Heat can win it out in Boston.
Dang, all right. I respect that.
I think we agree as much as I think we're Team Jimmy, not just pure Marquette wise, but I think we like his attitude, obviously,
Yeah.
with his Timberwolves days. Um, to me, he reminds Jimmy Butler and Russell Westbrook are kind of like the same personality, in my opinion. I think Russell Westbrook's a little bit more aggressive most of the time, but I think that's just like his persona he takes on. But they just don't care. They just don't care. We're going to do what we think is right. You're going to follow us or you're not going to follow us. You decide. And I think that's going to be really cool to see kind of how this whole playoff shakes up, just in terms of even like the small shifts, like because it can really change the what side of the bracket you're on, right? Be it for Dallas or the Rockets, because realistically, you don't want to be the 4th seed because second round you got to face the Lakers, and I don't want to face that AD Laker and LeBron situation. And I think let's go to our next point. We kind of slightly discussed this. How do you feel about John Morant? Do we feel that he's pretty much set in stone just with the number of games he's played this season, or do you think 8 games kind of changes it?
I don't see any way Zion could get it. And if he does, I think it shows. I would lose respect for the title Rookie of the Year if he does get it. Not saying anything against Zion at all. Zion is unbelievable. We've seen that time and time again. But John played the whole season, and he's brought this garbage Grizzlies team to the playoffs, basically, or probably. At least they're an 8th seed now, and that's impressive. Like, he literally was like, all right, guys, get on my back. Let's go.
On my back. And man, think about all those dunks we saw. Like the posters, and almost like he almost killed so many people. He literally killed a man. Okay, he should literally be in prison, just for the amount of people he killed. Okay, this is a good prison. Don't worry, he'll be on leave soon. But just like relative to the teams that probably quote unquote should have been in the playoffs, Portland, right? Portland last season, the bye bye Paul George, my favorite scene. Shocking that they're not in it. My Spurs, obviously, they're aging, but you can't really doubt the Spurs. Pelicans, obviously, just his work ethic is like really unrealistic. Like, I think everyone already he was already going to be in Zion's shadow already right from the get go, and I think not saying that it was good for Zion to get hurt, but I think there was Ja took advantage of that moment to say like, okay, I got to make sure that I become a face of this league, and I think he really has it. He's kind of got the shot. He got the drive. His drive is very scary. I mean, he's really Russell Westbrook like.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think if he gets snubbed of this, I quit basketball. I probably wouldn't quit basketball, but I agree with you. I think it'll just be like these words don't really mean anything. It's just a pure media stunt, kind of like Matt was saying last week. But hey, next year you're on the cover. All right? You're a dean. All right, I'm gonna make my own cover. All right, let's just get done. And I guess along those lines, let's jump to MVP. Do we think it's Giannis or LeBron, or do you have someone else in mind that could win the regular season MVP?
I think it's between those two. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
I was gonna say I think it's Giannis. I think it's gotta be Giannis.
Gotcha.
I mean, what LeBron has done this season is absolutely incredible. But I think when I think of MVP, I'm thinking of something like one person that this team would not exist without, basically. And if LeBron wasn't on the Lakers, they'd probably still be a playoff team. Maybe low, but probably still playoff team. I think the Bucks without Giannis, best person you have is Chris Middleton. I don't know. I think Giannis is absolutely gone on a tear this year, and people don't really care about it that much because it's like the same old Giannis. Like, I don't know. I feel like he's almost slept on. Like, people are like, oh my God, LeBron, AD, me included. I get hyped about them. I don't talk about Giannis that much, but what he's done, looking at the stats, looking at his play every game, unbelievable. I think he has to get it.
For sure. I think I'm going to go along the same lines. I'm actually going to flip the script in terms of your Bucks and Lakers comparison. I think if LeBron wasn't on that Lakers team, I don't think they would make the playoffs. They would not make the playoffs at all. And we've seen it, right? Because AD was with the Pelicans, and he's been to the playoffs like twice, and he still needed like Drew Holiday and DeMarcus Cousins to do that.
That's true.
But I think with the Bucks, we know like the East is pretty weak after the top 4 seeds. Like the Magic team would probably not make it. Like, I think I agree with you that Chris Middleton isn't as dominant, and we'll talk about that later in this podcast. But I think, I mean, the man's a two-time All-Star, back-to-back All-Star. All right, you can't doubt him there. Um, Eric, your favorite Eric Bledsoe. I'm running out of team members on that team, so I can see where you're going with that. But yeah, I just think that Giannis, for especially at his age, what is he like, 26 maybe, 25, might be our age. Man, we probably should have played basketball. We made a mistake. We shouldn't be doing this podcast anymore. But I think Giannis's progression has been like unreal. Like it's almost astronomically like a huge jump.
Exactly.
And like I think kind of going along your lines, I think it won't be unanimous to Giannis, but there's definitely going to be some votes to LeBron. But I think we can definitely agree just what Giannis has done consistently from back-to-back seasons. Like he's only gotten better, especially from his shot, defensive powers, especially. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get a shirt. It's going to say "Fine Wine and Dine, Never Doubt the King." All right, that's it. That's what we're going to write down. Um, we'll see. I think I definitely agree with you. I think Giannis is going to get it, but I guess I would not be super shocked if the Lakers win 8 straight and LeBron wins it. Um, I think lastly, the big thing to discuss: who's going to win it all? Let's just start first off, East or West? Who do you got?
West. I mean,
West. Gotcha. All right, who's the matchup then
in the finals,
in the finals?
I know it's a cop out. I feel like, but it's got to be Lakers Bucks. Like they're just a tier above all the other teams right now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it couldn't be them.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, and I think that'd be like the ideal matchup, right? It's the king and the I don't want to say prince necessarily. It's kind of like the prince, right? He's the next upcoming kind of guy. It'll be really interesting to see like that the coming of age king and then seeing someone can dethrone him or vice versa, kind of like that. Obviously, both teams haven't seen a title in quite a while. The Lakers was what back in 2010. It's been almost 10 years now with Kobe, and the Bucks too long. I think the last one was with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I believe. So,
Man,
and it's kind of funny because that man said he didn't like Milwaukee and demanded a trade and went to the Lakers. So it'll be a very interesting tale to see from that standpoint. A quick question from a side note. So at the end of the year for Finals MVP, it's usually Bill Russell that gives the Finals MVP trophy. Obviously, super old. Who do you think from either a retired player, maybe more recent, or to some other figure, who do you think should be the one giving the MVP title? Granted, it's named after Bill Russell. Probably shouldn't be there, obviously.
I think actually that now that you brought him up, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar I think is a great candidate for that. I don't think he'd ever do it, but Michael Jordan would also be a good candidate for that. I think. Yeah, I don't know.
Gotcha. That'd be really funny because like if MJ was there, it would remind me of Roger Goodell giving Tom Brady that trophy after his suspension. That'd be really funny to see. I think for me, what would be more entertaining is having like Goofy or Mickey Mouse like kind of give it the trophy and be like, "Oh yeah, here you go." And LeBron's like, "What the fuck is this?" Okay, we'll see what happens there. And I guess for me, I think in terms of matchup, it's tough. I feel like we don't really respect this Raptors team, and I know because Kawhi's gone, it's definitely a big drop. But just to see how consistent they were, and just Nick Nurse's composure with this team is actually like phenomenal.
Amazing.
But I just can't doubt this Bucks team. I think they have just in terms of bracket, they have the advantage. The Celtics team, slight question, especially with Gordon Hayward saying that he might leave halfway through the bubble. Slightly concerning just from an X factor standpoint. And they don't really have a big man that can really stop the freak, right? You can't stop this freak. Um, I definitely agree with you. I think the Lakers probably have the best potential just in terms of just overall playoff experience. These guys know how to get to the finals. Um, and look, LeBron missed the playoffs last season. Okay, this guy's coming back with a vengeance. You know he's going to come back. And let's be real, he would have made the playoffs if he didn't get injured and like tore his groin. Okay, this guy was going to make it otherwise. Um, but I think I have to agree with you. I think Bucks Lakers. I think it's the ultimate matchup. And I think it's the most realistic matchup. I think these teams are just two juggernauts. I think just two well-developed teams. Even though the rosters may seem lackluster, they seem like the most composed overall. They know the best chemistry overall, and that would be a phenomenal matchup. But you're saying Lakers. How many games though?
Oh, I think it's got to go to 7. I mean,
Gotcha.
I think it's going to be a Gonna be a big, big series.
Gotcha. I don't want to doubt the king, but I'm going Bucks in 6, and they're gonna win it. They're gonna win it in LA. That's the real fuck you to LA. Because then they're gonna
Damn.
recruit. Yeah, they're gonna recruit Giannis afterwards. Like, oh, LeBron couldn't do it, so like, hey, we're gonna give you like 200 mil to come and save our team. He's like, done. I'm there. Bring my five brothers with me too. We're good. All right, done deal.
I
Uh,
love it. I love it.
Hopefully the season does continue. And with that, let's get to our next segments.